Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, February 13th for the CDRC for the Village of Airmont. And on a snowy Tuesday, we're all here. Thank you for joining. The first application to review is Joseph Beer, 5 Beaver Hollow Lane, for the proposed residential house of worship, for the proposed site plan and architecturals. This is the final CDRC for chairman's endorsement. And I think we have Rachel and I'm not sure who else on for them.
I'm here. I don't see the attorney,
And I
but
see fast forward is on as well.
yeah, it looks like there.
Yeah, good morning. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
You went and drove through the snow and didn't listen to the warnings.
Can you believe it? I gotta follow boss's orders.
You and Lou. Die hard.
I did not, but I can still do this from here. So 5 Beaver Hollow, they received their final approval in the December meeting.
Mhm.
And so this was their final submittal. We did get John's comments, so we can revise the cost estimate. You wanted to have the stormwater maintenance agreement with the $5,000, and we are working on complying with the Ramapo DPW sewer comments.
Okay, that's all I had. The comment one, I believe that we did all the overrides, but we do so many of them that I might want to make sure it didn't slip through the cracks.
Yeah, so they definitely, I have written down that they did a GML review and comments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were overridden.
All right, great. So I'm gonna mark up that cost estimate and send it back to you. And in the meantime, the stormwater agreement has to be signed and the bond posted. And then I believe, Suzanne, that you can authorize the chairman to sign the maps.
Right. So when you I just have a question. When you assign the escrow, that means you've approved Schedule A because it wasn't clear to me. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then we just need to finalize that. Once that's signed by the mayor, I will give it back to you, Mindy, for recording. And we'll need proof of the recording. I also have a pile of resolutions for the chairman to sign when I'm back in the office, and then I'll get everybody their resolutions on the application, including overrides. Okay, so you have them for the agencies.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Any questions? Okay. The next application is, thank you, Congregation of Echo Ridge at 1 and 3 Echo Ridge Road for residential house of worship, a proposed amended site plan and a lot line merger. And we have Rachel on, and I'm not sure if Rabbi is on. Oh, hi. Good morning, Rabbi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Okay, so this application right now, we just came in with a sketch. Since it is new, kind of get some feedback before it went too far. There is a existing house of worship at the corner of Echo Ridge Road and Fawn Hill Drive. It's looks like it's one, that one might be one.
One.
One. And
on 3. The existing is on 3.
The existing is on 3. Okay, sorry. I have to just change it. It looks like I've labeled it backwards. So the existing house of worship is there with the rabbi's residence. They have since purchased the property just next to them. It's 3 Echo Ridge. And they are looking to convert that building to be used as part of the house of worship. The lot line would be disclaimed, and they're looking to add a significant amount of parking. They would have the driveway would come through would be a one-way that would come from Echo Ridge to Fawn Hill, just to try to maximize some of the parking. We did give an initial bulk table, but we just wanted to get some feedback before we went too far with this, since it is new.
John, you want to review your letter?
Sure. So comment 1, we're just noting that there's an unclassified as an unlisted action under seeker resolution, public hearing would be required. One comment we had under the environmental assessment form, it does identify this parcel as archaeologically sensitive. So asking the applicant to discuss that and whether we need to get a SHPO sign off. But the DEC EAF mapper did note that. Fire truck access maneuverability plan, that's standard. We are asking for a traffic study due to the size of the proposed congregation. I think it's 100. Is that the number that we're using for this congregation? I'm not sure if it's more or less, but pretty much when it's, I think, about 50 and under, we don't really require it, but anything over 50 we do ask that the traffic.
Okay. Yeah, this is
personnel-
150.
Okay. Architectural reviews required. I'm just noting under 6, and the attorney can agree or disagree, but there were a bunch of variants that were granted, but we think they're lapsed, so we think you're going to need to go back and have those variances reinstated. Typical
How do they
reviews.
lapse if it's if they have an existing house of worship? Like they built it, so then the variance should still be valid.
Yeah, those variants are for where the current property is, the current house of worship.
For the current house, no, but for the new addition, yes. So
Yeah, I mean, I recognize that we need variances, but like if they already granted something for like, let's say, the front setback to Fawn Hill, and that's the same.
yeah, no, that
Okay.
and the building is there and it's existing, that would not require
Okay.
an updated variance.
Okay.
So, if the variance pertains to the existing structure, the structure is built, the answer would be no, but anything for the new structure
Okay.
would require variance.
Okay, thank you.
So, and we are gonna do a lot line consolidation. I know with a lot of these, it's done ahead of time. So if it's done, I think Rockland County might do it a little bit differently than other counties, but you literally don't have to prepare a map, or you do, or you can just file a lot line consolidation or disclaimer without having to have a stamp signed map by the planning board. Is that how that works? Or not?
I will confirm on that.
I believe you have to file something with the town of Ramapo first, and then the town of Ramapo goes to the Rockland County Clerk's office. Exactly, I believe you do have to show the map in order for that to occur. But
In
again,
general, we've been doing it further along, like as the project
yeah,
showed that it was really happening, because otherwise I have 2 uses, like that other building. Like it will create a problem if I dissolve the lot line and I have 2 primary uses on this lot. So that's why we've been doing it after we get the,
It's like
when we get
a
the
condition
approval,
of
like when it's
approval.
further along. Yeah, it's like a condition of the approval.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with
Just
that.
so I don't, I mean, I
been
don't know,
seeing-
Luke could probably answer that better than I have, but that's when we've been doing it, because so that we don't have a problem with that. Because what if they don't approve it and now I have one
Right,
big
one
lot
lot
that
instead of 2
has,
lots. But I've seen it. I've had applications come
Okay.
in, and the second application that's already been disclaimed and the lot line removed. So,
okay,
anyway, it's got to be done up prior to, or maybe a condition of approval. Just noting that.
I agree
And
with that.
From
Yeah.
my end, that makes perfect sense too.
Okay,
Under the engineering comments, I don't need to go through all of them because it's kind of conceptual, but we do not need to do a full SWIP on this. It's only 0.8 of an acre of disturbance.
okay,
So we do need to do the erosion sediment control. We do need to address the village's code pertaining to no net increase in runoff. So that needs to be done, but a full SWIP is not required. And then the other stuff is just a normal lighting and landscaping, grading, drainage plan. Comment 6 is, and that does not apply to this project. I don't know how that comment got in there. So we're not
Okay.
doing the detention chambers at this point, so disregard comment 6.
okay.
And all the rest of them are, new stormwater agreement and so forth, engineering details, things of that sort.
John, it's Suzanne. I have a question on the current stormwater agreement. Does what he have in escrow apply to the new agreement? So for example, if you say the new agreement is 3 and we already have 1, then does he just pay the 2?
Just the difference. So if there's
That's the difference.
if
That's what I'm
there's, right,
asking.
correct.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
So, I mean, we are at a conceptual stage, so I think if we can get some more detailed engineering plans, we should come back to CDRC and then move to the planning board after that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Lou, did you have some comments?
I have something I have a lot of comments actually.
Okay.
To start with, I would like to remind everybody that the consent decree was accepted and is now part of our code. So this application should be following the new codes that we were required to put into the village code book. And most importantly would be section 210.12.2 residential places of worship.
Can you say that number again, just so I can write it down? Sorry.
210.12.2.
Thank you.
B, number 3, the establishment of residential house of worship as an accessory to a one-family detached residence. It explains that once you get past a certain size, it triggers other portions of this code to enact, including section 5, which has size and occupancy limits. And once the residential house of worship exceeds 49% of the gross floor area, it must be built as a assembly area according to the state of New York. And it specifies all the code according to that. It also highlights section 6. Where are we? 6, section 610, which includes parking. It says 1 parking space for every 60 square feet of sanctuary assembly space, which means your parking calculations are off. You would need 81 spots. It also gives us the occupancy limit as 15 square feet per person based on the size of the worship rooms.
Can you repeat that? You got cut off.
It's 15 square feet per person based on the size of the worship rooms. You have 4,900 square feet of worship area. That's 326 people. So that's part of that. My question on that's just based on the new code. My other question is the proposed house of worship, the new one that's behind it, that's currently a house or whatever it is. What function is that going to have as a house of worship? You're going to have a freestanding house of worship with a residence and then a secondary house of worship?
We're using that. The goal for that structure is a study room. We used to have a small area in the current building for that. That's during the times of services when people are praying. We use it separately. Now, obviously, we know what's in the new code, and we would have thought the easiest way would be to connect the two buildings, and
I
then
agree.
to prevent that question. Now, and some other questions. But on the other hand, there is it's allowed in the law, and to have something as we would call it a campus style, and it's allowed in universities, it's allowed in schools. Multiple buildings are allowed, and we feel for the traffic and for the style of our place, it's better if it's separated, and that's why we did it that way. We live on the back of it, and we want to be able to have some air. We don't want to connect it at this point. And therefore we'll have the lawyer and engineers come with a way to make it how to call it, principal building, two principal, whatever variants or whatever, how we need it written for the planning. But this is what we're asking for at this point.
I would also suggest that you connect them because it's causing a fire issue, because you have two buildings with only a 10-foot exposure between them. That's in violation of the New York State Fire Code.
What is it?
Because they're too close together.
Yeah, I know. So what is what number? We'll adjust the number.
I'd have to discuss. I'd have to check the code and the height, because it's based on the height and the exposure of one building to another. So, I mean, ideally, if they were connected, they'd be one building and we wouldn't have to worry about the exposure difference. But that's something I could look into. I mean, this is a preliminary, description to start with anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, whatever we'll do to connect it will just be some hypothetical hallway, just so it's connected on the book. So I don't know how that's going to help for fire, but whatever, we'll do whatever it needs to.
Well,
Uh,
if you saw the notes from the fire department as well, they want both buildings sprinklered.
I saw that works. That's acceptable.
Okay.
But in terms of connecting the building, just for we want to try to proceed with the application without connecting it.
Copy that.
And the new local laws are on the website under resources, new laws. You will see the 2 new local laws there if you need to reference them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not sure if they have gotten into the E code as of yet. I didn't have the opportunity to check because it was just approved last week, but I know the E code, the local laws are there.
They're not in the E code yet.
Yeah, I didn't think so. It takes time for that to occur.
And another point I'd like to make: we don't have we have an attorney. We've had 2. I don't know if everyone here knows this is the third time we're back to CDRC on the planning on this process, on this project. This project was previously approved 8 years ago for 49 congregants and with 28 spots, 27 spots. I don't remember the exact number. I do know from experience and dealing with other applications and my own that new laws can only have an effect on certain new construction. Now, the bulk of this project is an old previously approved project. So just to clarify, I'm very much in support of the new laws, and I supported it a lot. And to say that all portions that we're adding mostly actually will supply the architecturals are how would we call it, our accessory areas that we want to make bigger: lobbies, toilets, coat rooms, and etc. Coffee area. There are worship areas that we want to enlarge as well. How would that work with the old previously approved main sanctuary that was let's say 1,500 square feet, and we had that approved for X amount of members? We're coming now and saying that we need, at that point it was for 49 members. We're coming out to say that we want to triple that use, when it's not. We don't have services of 150 people, but we say we want to have 150. Now, we supplied a number of 4,000 square feet, just being overabundant to give it the highest parking calculations. We don't mind going with that number, but at least I would venture to say that the portion of the building that's been approved, how can we go and trigger old codes? It's definitely grandfathered in, but it's an approved building with fully inspected and CFO'd. That the number should be 360. I mean, obviously, we just that's my question and observation.
The rabbi, the code does address that. It says as long as nothing changes, no additional square feet is added, then it is grandfathered. But it also says that if anything is added or becoming increasing in nonconformity, then the new code is triggered.
Okay, so we'll check the code and make sure that's the case. Thank you.
And Rabbi, when you do get your attorney, I don't know if you're using the same one, Mr. Churgan, from before, just please add him to the application so we have it for the future submissions. Thank you.
And Rabbi, you can have Joe, assuming you're using Joe Churgan, you can have Joe contact me or Rob Noble, the planning board attorney, to discuss any issues.
Thank you.
Anything else? All
Okay,
right,
so we'll revise and we'll be
yeah,
back.
the next CDRC is March 12th. I don't know if you'll be coming
Oh,
to.
no, it'll take us a little longer than that.
Okay, so the one after that would be April 9th, and the submission date would be March 21st. Just to give you an idea.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, everyone.
the next one would be
Oh,
Tuesday.
the next one's yours as well. Okay. All right.
No, I don't think on the next one.
Oh, you're not on the next one. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. The
I'll be
next step, unless anybody had anything else on this application, we'll move forward. Okay. The next application is Congregation of Tehillah Lo David, Residential House of Worship at 1 Larissa Court, Site plan and architecturals, chairman's endorsement. This is their final CDRC. And I believe Rabbi Steinwasser is on for this. And his engineer, Paul Gdansky.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Paul Baum is on too.
Oh, I
and
didn't see him. I'm sorry. I didn't see
I
him.
thought yeah, Paul Baum's on
Yes,
too, and I
yes,
believe he's
see
the
him right
attorney.
there. Thank you.
Mhm.
John, did you want to go over your letter?
Yes, so there's not much under planning. We've gone through everything. I just noted that we do need a seeker resolution, and I believe we prepared one. Is that true, Chris?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
done a while ago.
Okay,
And I did see your comment about the traffic. That was resolved at a planning board meeting.
you know, I just want to make sure it doesn't slip through the cracks. So
Yeah,
under planning,
that's
we're
fine.
good. Under planning, we're good to go. Under engineering, there is infiltration testing. I believe that's required on this site. We did look at the stormwater maintenance agreement, which is acceptable, but it needs to be executed, and a $5,000 bond is required for a 10-year inspection. And I believe the cost estimate needs to be adjusted, and I will do a separate submittal with a markup for the changes. I believe there's a few more things on that site plan that need to be accounted for in the cost estimate.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
And under the exterior lighting, I've had that comment for a couple times. In the back of the building, it looks to me like it shows 0.0 amount of illumination going down stairwells. Even a wall pack or something to give some sort of illumination, I think, is required.
Yeah, the architect's gonna put something there, a light above the doorways.
Okay,
All right, so that needs to be shown on the final plan, just so John can see that, and those would be the plans that I would need to be stamped and signed, but we can do this behind the scenes along with the cost estimate and the stormwater agreement.
Those lights will be shown on the architecturals. There won't be actual foot candles. There'll be lights above the doors. I don't know if that's an issue.
can you put a note on a site plan that says lighting fixtures shall be provided above all stairwells? We'll call
Correct.
it a
Yeah,
day,
I can
so
do
at
that.
least
No
there's some-
problem. Yep,
Then you
no
don't
problem.
need to modify your lighting plan.
All right, great.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. I just have to text. I just texted the rabbi for the next one. He asked me to text him. The next application is 39 Besson Parkway LLC at 39 Besson and 72 Muncie Heights Road. Construction of a residence and a residential house of worship. This is their second time here for a proposed site plan and architecturals. And I think he will be getting on short. Yes, he's getting on. He just texted me. But we do have his engineer on, Paul Gdansky.
Yeah. So I went through the engineer. Do you want to go through the engineering comments?
Sure, whatever you'd like.
We added you brought up the comment about the RRV and water quality volume. That stuff's in there.
So
I'll have to send you the separate section where it is.
Send me the separate section. I do believe it's in your SWIP. The problem is I'm trying to check that the site plan meets the minimum criteria for volume, for surface area, whatever's required for the water quality basin. I think you show on the map like I forget what it's called. It's like a bio filter or something.
Yeah, it's
So
a manufactured system.
calculations, I think I need to be able to compare the calculations to what is actually on the plan to make sure it meets the requirements. That's what that comment's saying.
It's all, and then also that the pipes aren't perforated, so they're not in the water table. They're all solid pipes.
Okay, if you look at the detention chambers, this is comment number 2. So this is providing detention only. It's not infiltrating. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it looks to me like these chambers are 12 feet below grade. It doesn't look to me like they can actually drain. I don't have the the site plan pulled up, but it looks to me that they're so low that they will just have water sitting in them. It doesn't look like they can actually drain.
No, that's
So-
not, they have, there's an outlet, there's an orifice, and it goes out to Besson Parkway. There's new drainage being put in the road.
Okay, is there any way you can just send me even a red markup or something? Because when I looked at the map, it looked to me like they're just so low that they can't drain. So
No, it drains. I'll show it to you.
show it to me. Just send me just like a little sketch so that I can verify the elevations, because the bottom of those chambers are well below anything that's on site. So I thought I checked the outlet, and the outlet to where it was going to was 5-6 feet above the bottom of those chambers. So clearly I'm not seeing something on the site plan.
All right, no problem.
All right, and under, there's one comment that looks to me like it still shows that the footing basement drains are gonna be pumped, and I'm looking at.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
looking
pumped,
at-
they're gonna be pumped to the catch basin that's by the corner of the building.
All right, so when I looked at the map, I think the finished floor elevation was 602.5. If you subtract like 9 feet below that to the footings, there's still enough pitch to get into that basin without pumping. So I'm not sure why we want to pump.
No,
you know,
there
pumps-
isn't.
pumps.
Here, there isn't. Here, I'll tell you what I can. Let me open up the drawing.
Okay, because it's
You want me to
showing
share the screen,
show-
Paul?
showing the
No, it's
invert at
okay. I can just open
591.
the drawing. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So
The all
go
right.
ahead.
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. It is. Yeah, it's just coming up. Hold on 1 second. So the basement is at, the first floor is at 60. The basement's at like, it's at, the basement's like at 592 something.
Okay, and
There's
that's
no
that's-
592 anywhere on the property.
Okay, I thought that catch basin right next to it was at 591 with an outlet. It's actually a foot lower.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, if it can make it by gravity, we will, but if not, it's got to be pumped.
Okay. That's fine. So I just, we hate to use pumps. The circuits trip, they don't get plugged in, they clog, they don't work, and then when you need them, it's too late and there's 5 feet of water in the basement. So
Yeah.
It happened to me on my home, so I know. So if there's any way you can get it by gravity drain, it's always best.
Yeah.
I think that's it under, we need a stormwater agreement and.
Yeah, no problem.
Under the planning portion.
Which
So-
erosion and sediment control details are you saying are missing? Because they're all there.
I thought there was stone check dams or something that was shown on the plan that's not on the detail sheet.
No, there's no stone check dams.
Okay, let me take a look at that one, and maybe that comment was a repeat comment that I didn't remove.
Okay, no problem.
Let's see, under planning comments, so I think the fire truck accessibility plan, it does show, if I'm not mistaken, that you can get in and out of the site. But
Correct.
when we do those, we like to show it going if it's possible to go all the way around and out. I think it can just do a complete 90 and go all the way around and out. So we like the maneuverability plan to show that it can completely go around the building without having to back up if possible.
Yeah, okay, we will do that.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
and-
in their letter that they submitted. They're asking for a full analysis.
That's no problem.
So, and also you had responded that a revised EAF was submitted. I never got it. So I don't know if it just got deleted in the email, but I didn't see it. That was comment number 2.
All right, I'll make sure you get it.
All right, a traffic study is required.
I believe he's working on that.
Okay, architectural review committee review is going to be required. Are there I believe you're saying there's only 4 variances required. So pre-existing setbacks do not require a variance unless there's a change of use. So if there's a change of use, we've been having them go and get them so that because what happens is for certain type of use, it might be a 20-foot setback, but if you go to a new use, now it's a 10-foot setback. So if there's a change of use, we've been having the applicants just get the additional variances. So I don't know what the answer to that is, but if it does require it,
We'll get it's just the 2. We'll get the additional 2 variances.
then there's no question, you're already there, and then if somebody does challenge it, you've covered the bases all the way around.
No problem.
And then last comment, the SHPO review, the EIF does identify a archaeological sensitive area. So 99% of the time they come back and say no impact, but when it does trigger archaeological, we ask for a SHPO review.
Yeah, no problem. We're waiting their response.
Okay.
Okay, so Lou, did you have questions?
Yeah.
You said no? I couldn't hear you.
No, I said no, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So based on these items, CDRC, how do you want them to proceed?
Is this the first CDRC or the second?
Now, this is the second,
Okay.
but I know they have to respond to the maneuverability for Tillman. You asked for some of those other items for drainage. It's up to you. You just tell me how, so they know how to proceed going
I
forward.
mean, he has done a SWIP, so there is a lighting plan.
Okay.
Typically when there is an erosion plan, so when it's has moved along this far, we usually recommend that it go to planning board. Now, the only stipulation is we do not have a traffic study. So
That's what I was just gonna bring up. We have nothing submitted for that at all.
So I want to make sure we're consistent with our previous reviews and where we stand with that. So I'm from an engineering standpoint, I think the plans are long enough to move to planning board. I don't know how we should handle it with the fact that we don't have a traffic study yet.
We're working on the traffic study. I'm simply waiting for him to get back to me.
My sense is that this is advanced far enough that we can go to the planning board. Hopefully, by the time we file, we'll have our traffic study. But if we don't have it for the first planning board meeting, I think we have a lot of stuff that we can review and submit the planning board at subsequent to that. So we'd like to start the process and file for formal site plan review from the planning board and hopefully have the traffic study by the time we do that.
Well, maybe we could do one better, because what happens is we end up taking up a lot, and everybody knows that it's not uncommon to be leaving town hall at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. If you don't think you can get the traffic study done, can they just postpone to the next and request to be on the next meeting after that? Because we're really trying hard not to take up unnecessary planning board time, because we know how late the meetings go.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot to discuss here besides traffic. I think traffic is just one portion of it. If you want to schedule this the first time for the workshop, and we can do a a brief introduction. If we don't have that traffic study plan, we can just get it before them for a 10-15 minute introduction, and then adjourn and then come to a formal hearing for when we have the traffic study.
I don't have a problem with that.
Kristen and Lou, the same?
No issues.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
Hopefully we
just-
get the planning board before the building's complete.
yeah, well, just so you know, the next submission date is March 18th for the May 1st planning board. And the reason it's May 1st for the April meeting is due to Passover. So I would think by then you would have your traffic study, I would hope. May I ask who the traffic engineer is, please? Is it Baker or?
I don't know
Collier?
who
Okay,
Mayor's using.
okay. All right, I was just curious. All right, so then they'll be submitting for planning board. At the very least, it'll be for an informal discussion, the first meeting, if we don't have everything intact, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, before we go to the last application, Rabbi Halberstam is on and would like to ask a question. He was the second application that was on previously. So I'm gonna ask him to please, speak.
Hi, it's a question for Lou, a follow-up question. I'm sorry, Lou, I didn't have my calculator handy when you gave your comments. So you gave us the new number of 326 people versus the 150. And I also know that the new calculation has 4 per person, 4 per spot, not 3 per spot, which again leads me to 81, which is the same number you gave. I just want to clarify that.
Okay. The code actually states the portion of the residence, well, where are we here? Occupancy beyond these standards will require construction in accordance with the standards for an assembly occupancy. The standard of 15 square feet per person set forth in table 1004.5 of New York State Code is applicable to an unconcentrated assembly with fixed seats.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying the amount of parking per person, the amount of spaces per person used to be 3 people per spot, and it was changed in the new code to 1 for every 4 people. When we added the new 15 to give it the maximum occupancy number, which is the 326. All I'm saying is that 326 divided by 4 is 81. So are we again only the same 81 which you arrived based on the square footage, which is three spaces more than what I have? I just want to clarify the total number of spaces. You gave me the number of people, which was 326.
Right.
Is that correct, though, that it's also in the new code?
It
1
says
for
the
every.
number of people, 15 square feet per person. And the parking requirement says 1 parking space for every 60 square feet of sanctuary assembly area, but no fewer than 10 parking spaces. It doesn't say anything about 1 per 4 seats.
No. Well, it used to be the code 1 for every 3 people. Like, what's the calculation we use? And I remember seeing the language of the new code that is updated. When this new thing was added, that we're going based on max occupancy for 1 for every 15, it was added together with 1 for every 4. Are you saying that's not in the code?
And it's not in the code. It says 1 parking space for every 60 square feet of sanctuary assembly space, but no fewer than 10 spaces.
Yeah, that's the 2 calculations for parking. 1 is based on square footage, 1 is based on people. I'm asking you, based on the people, when there's 326 people, how many spaces do I need for that?
81.
81. Oh, okay, very good. So both calculations is 81. That's all my point was.
The calculation is based on 60 square feet per sanctuary space. It doesn't say anything about the number of seats or the number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's based on the worship area.
Correct.
It doesn't take into account other areas of the structure.
Yeah, I understand that. So when you updated the amount of people from 150 to 320, it doesn't change anything with the parking, right?
No, the parking is 81 spaces.
Okay, so you just pointed out the number of people as the maximum occupancy, not in terms of parking calculations. That's what I wanted to clarify.
The parking calculation is based on the square footage of the.
Very good. Great. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the last application. Prime Pro Management LLC, 194 Route 59, reinstatement of gas station, amended site plan, chairman's endorsement. We have, I think Rachel is on and Heim, and Hitchcock is on. Okay,
Yeah, so we have been working on, we finally were able to get a pretty clean letter from working with the DOT and back and forth, but now we are here for final. We
okay.
got our final, sorry. We're here for the check print, the final review.
All right, so John, based on your letter, we need to the cost estimate.
Yeah, let me just state that we did acknowledge that this did not require seeker resolution. Pretty much what's out there is existing. And under comment 2, we did see that there is a copy. It's valid until 2027 of the DEC permit, petroleum permit, that authorizes them to store and distribute petroleum storage. So that takes care of the first 2. There was a cost estimate. It was minor, I thought. So that's the only thing that that I need to do before the chairman signs it. Wasn't there some signs that were added? I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, so based on the ARC review, they need to make sure the property looks the way the ARC approved it. There was no sign. There's a sign on the Webster Bank property next to it. They were supposed to give me the information to contact that that owner to try to remove it, but they cannot remove it or cover it up without their permission. So that has to stay until I can try to speak to them. They tried to speak to them and couldn't do it. They also have to do something with the pumps because what's there now doesn't look like what was approved for ARC. Some sort of cover is on it. I don't really know what that's all about.
This is just stickers. We're gonna change the stickers the second we can open.
Stickers? Okay. I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was because it's
Yeah.
different than ARC. I know you painted the building. I have to pull out the ARC rendering. But when they go out to the engineer goes out to do the final approval, they're going to have a copy of that to make sure it looks exactly the same as what was approved. But I
Okay.
do need the information on whoever you were trying to reach. I know they were trying to go to a board member so that I can try to talk to them about that sign. But there is no sign on the property. And it's only to pump gas, is my understanding. Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So very quickly, going back to the DOT, and I could be wrong. I thought there was a do not enter sign or right turn only or something that was asked for in the review comments. So I think that was the only site plan improvements that were proposed for this because the pumps are existing, correct?
This curbing that has to be put in along.
Yeah, there's
Curbing had to be
just some
put in.
curbing and like one way do not enter sign.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right about the sign, John, in terms of the property. I thought you meant the sign for the gas station. I
Okay.
apologize.
So the cost estimate obviously will be a minimal amount. So and it was like 50 feet of curbing. It wasn't like thousands of feet.
Was there anything about the sidewalk? I could have sworn there was something about a sidewalk that we got the day after the planning board meeting on one end. To make sure.
So the DOT confirmed via email that they do not require a crosswalk. And so the only thing is, so the island is concrete and the island would work as a sidewalk, but we didn't have to paint the crosswalk or anything. So the
Got
island is going to be concrete anyways because the island that's there is, yeah, so it would just be concrete. If there's not enough room you're not going to grow anything there anyways. So that could act as a sidewalk. But I had told the DOT that the adjoining property where the sidewalk ended was in the private property. So we didn't have access to extend to connect into that anyways.
Okay.
The island you're talking about is the one in front of the pumps that's going to have the
Yes.
mounted curbs.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically, the only thing I have left is just to okay the cost
cost
estimate for those minimal amount of improvements.
Correct.
And then that's all we have.
Correct.
Okay.
All right,
I
so
have a
we'll work
question
on
about-
that behind the scenes.
I have a question about the curbing that you're putting in on the west side property line. What type of curb is that? That's not a mountable curb, right?
Correct, it's just a concrete curb.
Regular 6-inch or,
Yes,
okay. So you won't be able to park vehicles or anything over there.
no, so it's just gonna show that they know now where it
Okay.
ends. They can't drive onto anyone else's property by
The
accident.
the last week or two, there's been a flatbed tow truck parked over there every day. So I just wanted to make sure that there was no area for tow trucks to park over there.
Not on my plan.
Got it.
Okay, so I guess we are done with everything. Thank you all for coming out on the snowy day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and stay warm and safe, everyone. Okay, thank you.
Ah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.